Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Malcolm from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of all Israel on earth today. And salutations to the Yakim on the four corners of the earth that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. All right. To you, I say shalom. This is going to be a response to a video that was done by Stephen Ben-Nun of Israeli news. I think it's Israeli News Live or Israeli Live News, or I forget exactly. And I often watch his shows because he gives a lot of informative information that you don't see, you know, in the regular media. And a couple months ago, not even, probably about 6 weeks ago, he basically admitted that there was a connection between the Native Americans and the land of Israel, and that their heritage goes back to that. Was basically the message that we've been teaching for the last 30-something years. You know, the Israelites here in America. And he talked about the Khazarian theory. It's not a theory, man. Okay? It's actually truth to it. If you want to try and deny that the Khazarian Empire was real, that Kagan Bullen and his people really existed, is foolish. It's way too much documented history to prove so. Just because they have chosen to overlook certain history because it didn't benefit their cause or their narrative. Okay? And he also said something about the prophecies. Where are these prophecies? And questioning if the Israelis in the land of Israel are the actual Jews. And the answer to the question is no, they're not. They're converts, all right, from Kagan Bullen. And if you go back even further, they're the descendants of the Idumean, the Jewish Idumean converts under the hand of John Hyrcanus during the time of you know, during the time of the Maccabees, okay, during that time period, okay, and because that's who Antipater, his sons, the Herod, and that whole Herodian dynasty, they were all Jewish converts. All right, that was originally forced into following the Bible, following the law, statutes, and commandments under John Hyrcanus. But as soon as they converted, they brought in the Talmud and Kabbalahism and created a whole different thing. So when the Bible's actually talking about Idumea, it's talking about those converts, man. And I'm going to prove that. But anyway, let's go to the scriptures. Because he was asking about prophecies. Where are these prophecies at? These prophecies are all throughout the Bible, all throughout the book of the Tanakh, the book of the prophets. But you choose to ignore them. Okay? So let's start with Jeremiah, the 16th chapter. And, you know, and there's so many ways that this can be done. I hope this sparks, you know, other brothers to do videos, you know, likewise, because we are in a very battle for our own heritage. And the fact that this made Israeli News Live, and he talked about how there are these black people all over the world, worldwide movement, saying that they're the real Jews. And you can't go on the internet and YouTube or anywhere without it popping up, because now this is that time, which is why I'm about to read it. You know, I'm going to read it. It was talking about the controversy of Zion. And we've entered that time period. But let's start with Jeremiah, the 16th chapter. And I'm going to read verses 12 through 15 first. All right. And it reads, I'm going to start at verse 11. Then thou shalt say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, and they may not hearken unto me. Therefore I will cast you out of the land, and into a land ye know not, neither ye know nor your fathers, and there ye shall serve other gods day and night, whether I will not show you favor. That never happened to the Jewish people, man. Okay? Besides, the places where they came from was the old world, all right? It was the old Eastern world, and all places were known, and all places had been inhabited with people, all right? It talked about basically a new place where no man had inhabited. It tells you that in the Apocrypha. Okay, and we're going to get to that Apocrypha and why they avoid that Apocrypha. All right, because the Apocrypha is a complete expose on Judaism, on Christianity, and on the so-called white man's beginnings and how he came into power and how he assumed the nationality and races of other people and the heritage of the Israelites. It's all in there. Okay? And it says, therefore will I cast you out of the land, and into the land ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there ye shall serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, it shall no more be said, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children out of Israel, out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. Okay? And from all the lands whither he had driven them, and bring them again into their land, and I gave unto their fathers. And that hasn't happened yet, because the prophecies clearly say that when you read Isaiah, the 14th chapter, man, when the Israelites go back to the land of Israel, they go there with servants, the servants of all the other nations. All the other nations go into slavery for 1,000 years. Thus saith the Bible. And Stephen Banu and people like, he said that the rabbis are looking for the Messiah. The Messiah already came, and they're not looking for the Messiah, because when he come back, he's coming back to annihilate and destroy them. Okay? He's coming back specifically them first, man. Okay? Because they've polluted his heritage. All right? Now I'm going to start at verse 16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith Yahweh, and they shall fish them, and after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and from the holes of the rock. And that's what you miss. That's what you're witnessing. All these men around the world, on almost every continent, including Europe, including people who look white, who are scattered Israelites, which they're not acknowledging that part. They're not acknowledging the confusion of face, because you're even going to have people actually among those Israelis that really are our people, because every Israelite didn't leave that land. Okay? He kind of admitted that. He said they are, Stephen Banoon did admit that the Israelites were scattered among all nations and they mixed with all nations. But he also was saying it from that mother perspective, that they're half this and half that. The Ethiopians are Ethiopians. They have nothing. They're Hamites. They are of the seed of Ham. They cannot be Israelites. They have to be of Shem, specifically out of the loins of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Esau. All right, they are Hamitic. They're the sons of Ham. Okay. Verse 17, for my eyes are upon all their ways, and they are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first I will recompense their iniquity, and their sin shall be double, because they have defiled my land, and they have filled my inheritance with the carcasses of detestable and abominable things. And who's that? The people that are over them now. They've koshered pork. They allow homosexuality, which in the law, statutes, and commandments, in the book of the Torah, and the book of the prophets, that such behavior is supposed to be pushed away from Israel. All right. As a matter of fact, some of those things require death, man. Bestiality and all those things. In the book that they worship, the Talmud, all you got to do is go pick up one. All those things, pedophilia, bestiality, all those things are allowed. Okay? Those things are allowed. Okay? Let's see where we're gonna go to now. Verse 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and they shall surely and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities, and things. There is no profit. This is how you know it's talking about a different people. And he said that the land was polluted, and that he had polluted his heritage, man. So who's over in the land right now? What is Zechariah 9 and 6? It says that a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Ashdod is modern day Tel Aviv. So it's telling you that there's a false people in the land of Israel in Tel Aviv right now. All right, Stephen Banu, you're asking for the prophecies. We've been giving them to you, man. Watch the men of GMS, starting with the elders. All right. I personally have done thorough videos with scripture and history and relics and proving these points, man. You just want to ignore, you know, the proper edification. Okay. Let's go to Baruch 2 and 30. Okay. Because the state of the Israelites is that they're going to have to remember themselves. They're going to forget who they are, and they would have to remember themselves in the lands of their captivity. When did that happen to the so-called Jewish people? Because according to you, you've always known who you are. You got your little false DNA, which the scientists have already admitted that DNA could be falsified, and plus you're doing it through the mother, and you know that that's not right. All right, that's not the case at all. Let's find the book of Baruch. Baruch comes right around. There it is. This is Baruch 2 and 30. I'm going to read through 32. And it reads, "For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the lands of their captivity they shall remember themselves." And that's what you're witnessing with these people all over the world. That prophecy is being fulfilled. The Latinos, which you fail to mention when you talk about Israel, all right? Well, you did mention the natives, but the natives and the Latinos are out there saying the same thing. The same natives that you admitted on your news broadcast that have a link, the oldest form of Hebrew, which I personally been talking about for the last 10 years, and I know the elders been talking about it a hell of a lot longer than that, all right? But now this evidence is overwhelming and be going mainstream. You can't get around that. The oldest form of Hebrew is found among the Native Americans, man, who I personally am attached to, okay? And the Hebrew relics was found among them, the oldest Hebrew writing, what Israelis refer to as biblical Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, okay, was found here in the Americas, older than the ones they even found in the land of Israel. They predated them. So why would it in Los Lunas, New Mexico? Okay, that's where they were found, in a riverbed. Okay, they call it the Los Lunas stone, or I forget the Back Creek stones. Okay, you can't get around that. It had the name of the 12 tribes, the name of Yahweh, not Yahweh. All right, not the Yiddish that the Israelis speak now. They speak Yiddish, and they've labeled it Hebrew. All right. Okay, and that's a whole nother lesson. I'm not going to get into that. But Eleazar ben Yehudi in 1781, I do believe, added the vowel points and changed and added the Yiddish, the German, and the Slavic languages, and to the Hebrew. And so they speak that language, and they say that it's Hebrew today, all these 100, 200 something years later, you know, and that's not the case. That's you know, that's a fabrication. True Hebrew is spoken the way it is when you speak it without the vowel points, and there's no long vowels in Hebrew except the letter I, period. Okay, verse 31. "And shall know that I am Yahweh their power, and I will give them a heart and ears to hear." And that's why so many people are waking up, Latinos, natives, and Negroes alike, okay, and confusion of face, all right, that are scattered among the other nations, okay. And you have a lot of Caucasian-looking people that are Israelites, and there's a lot of Edomite Caucasians in general that are co-signing to this truth because they've done their research and know it to be true. All right? You failed to mention that amount of videos that are all also the internet is saturated with. Okay? Verse 31. "And they shall know that I am the Lord, their power, and I will give them a heart and ears to hear." And that's why they're hearing and they're believing, man. "And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and they shall think upon my name." And that's exactly what you're witnessing, man. Okay? Lamentations 5 and 2 clearly tells you that the heritage of Israel is given unto strangers, man. All right? There's another people in the land. All right? Because, like I said, the Israelis, according to them, they've always been Israel. So they don't. So that apocryphal scripture, it doesn't apply to them. And like I said, this is why the Bible Destruction Group removed the Apocrypha from the Bible in the first place, because it's a complete expose on the so-called white man and everything he has done, religious-wise, and, you know, political-wise. It's all there, man. All right? The Maccabees movie was canceled, which Mel Gibson was supposed to do. But because when you go into the Maccabees, it reveals that the Spartans are Israelites. That will call a controversy because Esau has made all types of money off movies and books. Hell, I just saw a book recently, not too long ago, talking about from wimp to hero or something. It was a fabricated book about the Spartans. All right, the Spartans were not a pale race of people. The Spartans were actually Israelites, and that's documented in the Apocrypha. All right, your very president, the current President Trump, when he was inaugurated, they actually quoted scriptures from the Apocrypha from the first time. All right, the 1611 King James Bible is the Bible which is kept in the Capitol, which is kept in the White House. All right, and when the president swears in, they swear in on a 1611 King James Bible, and in the year 1983, Proclamation 5018 was signed into law by President Reagan, that the King James Bible was the true law of the land, and the King James Bible exposes Judaism or Judeo-Christian and the complete history of the so-called white man. Another ignored fact and figure is that of John Hyrcanus, who's also written in the book of the Maccabees, and the forced conversion of John Hyrcanus, when he forced the Edomites that they conquered to follow the ways of the Bible, and then those same Edomites set to take the place of the Jews, and they were given the real Israelites hell during the New Testament. That's who Paul had to deal with. All right, that's who the Lord had to deal with. All right, Herod wanted to remain king over the Jews and had a bunch of Judites, Benjamites, and Levites put to death. All right. Okay, you have to examine the curses. Because those Idumeans, those Jewish converts, let's go to Isaiah the 34th chapter. That's who Antipater came out of. And Antipater is the forefather of the Herodians, man. All right, and the Herodians brought in the Talmud, and they brought in the Kabbalah, and that's your Judaism, which has nothing to do with the Bible. Isaiah 34:16 says there's no other mate to this book, man. You can't match another book up to the book of the prophets. It says, this is Isaiah 34:16. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh and read. No one of these shall fail, none of the prophecies. Which is something Stephen Ben-Nun, he's saying, where are these prophecies? I'm giving them to you, man. And this is just some of them. All right? None shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth hath commanded it, and his spirit it hath gathered them. So there's no books to match up with the Torah and the Tanakh, man. Which is the Bible. All right? If you're using the Kabbalah and the Talmud, you're going off, man. And you're trying to force a circle into a square peg. And that's what the Jewish people are trying to do, man. All right? But this is Isaiah 34, verses 1 through 5. And it says, come near, ye nations, and hearken. Hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all therein, the world, and all the things that come forth of it. Stephen Ben-Nun said that this is getting chaotic. And it is, because this is the time that we're coming into, and the whole world is hearing. All right? This is becoming conversation. I'm riding the buses and trains, and just random people are talking about this stuff now. All right? You even got Edomites talking about this stuff now. Okay? For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury is upon all their armies, and he have utterly destroyed them, and he have delivered them to the slaughter. This is when the Israelites get put back into power. All the armies of the world have to be destroyed. They're not destroyed, and the Israelis over there are not living in peace and safety and dwelling alone. They don't match the prophecies, man. Remember the Sesame Street? One of these things don't belong. Yeah. It says, their slain shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with blood. And that's what's about to happen, because the Third World War is at hand. Why? For the controversy of Zion, man. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth off the vine, and as the falling of a fig from a fig tree. All right. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, and behold, it shall come down upon all Idumea, upon the people of my curse to judgment. All right. And that's talking about the Edomite race, and even more specifically, the Jewish converts that go back to the time of John Hyrcanus, because those Idumeans were identified with being Jewish, because they became Jewish. All right, which is why I refer to them as Idumean Jewish, or Jewish Idumea. All right, because the Greeks and the Romans began calling those Edomite converts Idumeans. That's how they got that label. All right, I mean, you Idumeans, you're the ones that are following that black religion. Hence the same thing that Hitler was saying. And you love to bring up the Holocaust. Look, there was over 80 million people that died during World War II. 6 million is a micro. That's nothing compared to the other 80 million. What about them? All right, that was just another war, which is actually written in the Bible. That was a second woe. So you can't make that fit the curses, man. It was already a part of the second woe. That's the part that it fits, man. Okay? That's not the, you can't try to write that into the curses of Deuteronomy 28 chapter, and we're going to get to that. All right? And this is Isaiah, the same chapter, 34, verse 8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of the recompenses for the controversy of Zion. There's a controversy of Zion, and that's what we're witnessing, the controversy of Zion, because the actual people are waking up. They match the prophecies, and the people who have been there don't. And now it's causing a controversy because you're forced to deal with this now. All right. And when you actually examine history honestly, you know, when you examine the curses honestly, you can't help but come to the conclusion that someone is lying and someone is telling the truth. And it's not us that's telling a lie, man. OK, this is Deuteronomy 28 verses 45 and 46. And it reads, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded. That was the punishment unto the Israelites. And it says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So that was the curses in the book of Deuteronomy were going to be upon the children of Israel, so the whole world would know who they are. And when you examine these curses, they do not fit the Jewish people. You know, it says Judah is black, not wears black. You know, you got the Orthodox Israeli women cut their hair off to try to match the prophecy in Isaiah, the 3rd chapter. All right. No, I know a lot of Israeli girls that got really big butts and their hair goes down to their down to their waist, man. They cut their hair. OK, the so-called Negro woman used to have really robust round tires like the scripture says, like the curse said. But now they got wide hips and flat butts and no hips at all, man. And they can't grow their hair. The matter of fact, they've made Moabites, Koreans, and Chinese and other wealthy, man, with the whole hair industry. You got all this hair that's coming in from Brazil, from India, from different parts of the world, and they go to the beauty stores, which are owned mostly by the so-called Asians, and they're buying that stuff to put it on their hair because they don't bear their curse well. The Negro woman's hair does not grow, man. Their hairline start way at the top of their head, and it, you know, and right, and that's part of the curse, man. So like I said, you know, when you start measuring up, when you examine the curses honestly, you will find that the so-called Israelis don't fit them, man. Okay? And then let's go to my favorite one, of course. This is Deuteronomy 28:68. And it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, which means house of bondage, slavery, with ships. So they were brought on ships, man. There are no relics, no history of no images of Israelis on ships with yokes of irons, as the curse said, with yokes of irons around their neck, all right, naked and in chains. Right, because that's the way the Israelites went into slavery, and that only happened to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Just watch the documentary on slavery in Brazil, man. All right? And Brazil got its name because of wood from a tree, okay? And the slaves were done off quickly from all the disease that you brought over. Then they decided to go to West Africa and get the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And you got maps of West Africa where the forts where they were taking them from said Fort Benjamin, Fort Judah, and Fort Levi. All right? This is documented history that you just choose to ignore, that you don't push mainstream. You keep it covered up. And now we're living in a time and age and when it's coming out, man. And it says, and by the way I spake, whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. The nation of Israel would not see the land of Israel again until the Lord takes them back there, making you not fit prophecy. But there are prophecies about false people being there. You can't get around Zechariah 9:6 when it says that a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and that's modern day Tel Aviv, man. When you have Pink City, where you have the largest gay parade, when the Tanakh and the Torah orders that such behavior to death, man, that it be exterminated away from Israel. Okay? You got all kind of tensions and things going over there that don't fit the prophecies, man. That's why the land is all messed up. Why you need security and the Iron Dome and militaries and all that. That's not going to be needed according to the prophecy when the Israelites go back. All right. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And there are no relics anywhere on this earth except for maybe in the movies, the Planet of the Apes. All right. Where you see white men and white women, so-called Israelis, in chains, naked, with yokes of iron around their neck and shackles around their wrists and their feet, naked, going into slavery on ships. But when you do your honest, like I said, when you observe history honestly, you'll find that most of the ships that carted the Israelites into slavery were actually owned by those very same Idumeans. All right, or if you want to call them Khazars, because they're all related, all the same people, man. And don't sit up and pretend and try to avoid the fact that Kagan Bullen was real and the Khazars was real. That is an actual real history. And they live right over there where Crimea is, in that area. That's where they were from, man. All right? Over there in Russia. Hey, so with that, I hope this was an edifying lesson. And shalom.